Today we're talking about 5 jiu-jitsu white belt tips that I wish I would have known when I started almost 8 years ago. So without further gun bumping, let's jump in. Just getting back from my trip from Puerto Rico. I got some good training in out there with some great guys, and I took a nice long break from YouTube because of this trip. So in order to get the ball rolling again, I want to come back with a nice shorter video, and because of that, we're going to rip through these tips. So starting off with jiu-jitsu white belt tip number 1, not everything needs to be a war. From my personal experience and seeing people join the gym I train at, it's very common to see these new white belts going 110%. And I think that's because you're operating in a place that is unfamiliar, trying techniques that you don't know, trying to prevent submissions that you don't know how to stop. But as a 3-stripe purple belt, talking to all the new white belts, I promise you, you do not need to act this way. The sooner you learn to calm down, the sooner it is that you will be able to learn. So next time you come to training and you're sparring and you feel like you're in a constant state of being threatened by your opponent's submission attempts, just remember to relax, calm down. You're not gonna get hurt. Tap early, don't do any spazzy big movements, because a lot of times we could make a submission a lot worse, exploding in the opposite direction, making it tighter. I'm saying that not everything has to be a war, but there's nothing wrong with leaving that extra boost, your war switch, in the off position, only to flip it on when you need it. Think about it like that. So if you're going to jiu-jitsu and you're leaving your war switch on the entire time, you're doing it wrong. Trust me, leave it off, flip it on only when you need it, and you will begin to learn at a much faster rate. White belt tip number 2, no one cares if you get tapped out, and no one's going to remember that you got tapped out, but everyone will remember if you react in a negative or aggressive way. Your jiu-jitsu academy is a great place to be humbled. I think it's really easy as white belts to come to a jiu-jitsu school and see the blues, purples, browns, and blacks, and watching them feeling like they never really tap out. And then all of a sudden you feel like you're in the spotlight because you're always getting tapped out. But I promise you, no one cares. We all been through it. We've all lived that. We all understand. But if you're gonna be that guy or girl that slams your hands on the mats or yells out loud or makes a scene every time you get tapped, you're going to ruin your reputation really quickly. When you get submitted, think about it like this. Your opponent is showing you holes in your game. You should be thankful for that. How would you ever know that there's holes in your game if A, you never went to jiu-jitsu, or B, you never got submitted? That's just never going to be the case. And as a white belt, your game is filled with holes by default, and you will constantly be reminded of that. But instead of being upset or angry about that, be grateful, because this is where you begin to get better. Remember, tapping doesn't mean you're a loser. Tapping doesn't mean you suck. It means you're learning. So embrace that. Don't freak out. Don't be that guy that has a temper tantrum if he gets tapped out. Okay? Learn and move on. That's how you do it. Tip number 3, learn to find peace in the panic. This was a big one for me because as a white belt, if I got stuck in a bottom position, if I got pinned, if my face got smothered, I would really panic and I would explode and I would try to bench press and I would try to hip thrust my way out of these things only to gas myself out and be stuck in the same position I was in that was making me freak out, except I'm more exhausted at this point. If you find yourself in a position that you feel you can't get out of, there's nothing wrong with relaxing and learning to find your breath and just finding that peace, finding that calm. Jiu-jitsu is very much a thinking art. And a lot of times, if we can calm ourselves down, we can think our way out of a problem. But that's never going to happen if we're being spastic and exploding in a way that's not effective. You have to remember that those big movements cost a lot of energy and oxygen. And if they aren't effective, that's a great way to gas out and still keep yourself stuck in that position that you can't get out of. So the sooner you can learn to calm down and find that peace inside the panic, the better you're gonna be. That's where you learn to think your way out instead of trying to force your way out. And until you learn to think your way out, it's very unlikely that you'll force your way out, especially against someone who's a skilled opponent. And I just want to take a second to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, X Martial. X Martial is a growing combat sport brand that's dedicated to supporting the jiu-jitsu community by sponsoring kids, athletes, and creators like myself. They produce high quality gis, no-gis, spats, and even streetwear, everything you need to take your training to the next level. So whether you're cracking, slapping, tapping, or napping, you can look as good as me and probably even better by picking yourself up some high quality gear from X Martial. If you'd like to support me and my channel, you can click on the link in the description, use my discount code IRONWILL to save yourself some money, and go ahead and grab some high quality, fun jiu-jitsu gear. All right, that's enough gun bumping. Let's get back to the video. White belt tip number 4, being active when setting goals. Now let's learn to think outside the box here. Most white belts want to learn as many submissions as possible, but that's not really the journey of a white belt. Your journey is more defense based. And with that, we need to be creative with how we set our goals. Let's say you go to open mat and you're sparring with a guy who submitted you 10 times in one round last time you faced him. Well, this round, let's aim for 9 submissions. And then after that, let's aim for 8 submissions. And after that, 7 submissions, so on and so forth. We be creative. It's a way to track progress without putting too much pressure on ourselves. You can also, instead of trying to learn every submission in the book right away as a white belt, why not start learning transitions? Start learning to string things together. Start focusing on positions over submissions, right? You can't force submissions, especially when you don't even have the position perfected yet. Remember, as a white belt, your journey is defense-based, so stop worrying about trying to submit everyone. Those will come. Those will definitely come, I promise you. And it'll be amazing. But what's even better is learning how to defend yourself. What feels good is being that white belt that has super good defenses to the point where none of the other white belts can tap you, and even the blue belts have a hard time getting through your defenses. That's a place you want to be. You can also work on improving your physical fitness, whether that's strength, stamina, whatever it is that you want to improve. These are things that you can pursue while still learning the art of jiu-jitsu that will complement your journey. Remember, it's not always about learning submissions. There's so much more to jiu-jitsu than submissions. Submissions are the tip of the spear. There's so much more to learn, so make sure you're taking care of that. And tip number 5, be aware of your progress. This is something that so many white belts that I've noticed overlook all the time. They don't realize they're progressing because all they're looking for is submissions. All they're looking for to track their progress is how many times they submitted their opponent. But again, we need to realize submissions are not the journey of a white belt. It's your defense. So instead of saying, I didn't get any submissions at open mat, I'm not progressing, why don't you realize or look back and how many submission opportunities you recognized? Because a lot of times in jiu-jitsu, before we start landing submissions, we start recognizing that there was an opportunity. The opportunity will come and go, and we've lost it, but that is progress. That right there tells you that you're starting to observe and recognize opportunities for submissions. And as a new white belt, you don't have that at all. You never see submissions. So once you get to that point where you're recognizing these things, you know you're progressing, you're going down the right path. Remember that. Don't just use completed submissions as a means to track your progress. There's so much more on the books that means you're progressing outside of completing submissions. You need to be 3-dimensional when it comes to your progress analysis. Let's look at your reversals, your transitions. How well are you holding people in side body? How well are you holding people in mount? Maybe 2 months ago, you couldn't hold anyone in mount, and now you're holding on for 5 to 6 seconds. That's progress. Maybe 2 to 3 months ago, you'd get stuck in side body no matter who it was. And now you're shrimping out and you're escaping some of these people. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. Guess what? That's progress. So keep your eyes open. Remember that jiu-jitsu is 360 degrees. And just because you aren't completing all your submissions, that doesn't mean you aren't progressing. There's so much more than just submissions. And in realizing this, you'll notice that you're feeling more motivated and excited to train because you're aware of your progress now. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's the video, guys. I wanted to keep it short on purpose. I hope you liked it. If you like these shorter videos, let me know. If not, you want the 10 to 15 minute videos, let me know. All data is good data. I appreciate you guys. Also, drop your comments below. I want to hear about your lessons, your experiences. Hearing from you guys allows me to be a better content creator. I am one perspective. I am one person. But when I have the perspective of multiple people, I learn at a much faster rate. So give me your experiences. You never know. I may make a video off your comment alone. I've done this in the past. I'm looking to do it again in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Every little bit of support helps. You know, the algorithm loves that stuff, and I love it too. I appreciate you guys more than I can say. With that being said, you know how we like to end them. Eat plants, train hard, and feel good. I'll see you in the next one. Ooh. That was a bit ridiculous. All right, I'm going to end it there.